On Second Shot, we cover 2 new stories every week to find out what kind of wisdom the world is dishing out today. And at the heart of every one of these stories are people, just like you and me, who've had to overcome incredible odds, to face the greatest challenges, to struggle and fight back. But now, we're changing it up. In these episodes, we're skipping the headlines and going straight to the people that inspire us to grow, to be bold, seek change, and act courageously when the rest of the world may not. A second look, a second chance, a second shot. This is Second Shot Sit-Downs with your host, Jenny Anchondo.
Okay, you guys, this is it. We have been telling you about this, sort of special project we've been working on, Second Shot Sit-Downs. And this kind of grew from my desire after 15 years of doing these 90-second interviews to give you a little something more. So we came up with a group of people who we think are powerful. We think they have compelling stories. We think they have something that you could learn from. So every other episode for the next couple months is going to be a Second Shot Sit Down where we do a deep dive, in-depth interview and give you something tangible, digestible that you can learn from. So it's a little bit different. Heath isn't here, but guess who is? Matt is here. What's up, Matt?
Hello. Happy to be here in the dungeon or basement or whatever we have back here.
Matt, do you have a ladder? Are you trying to escape?
Look, no, I'm just ready to do work whenever the time comes. I've got some clocks back here. I'm ready to go.
Oh my
I'm excited for this.
Oh my gosh. So Matt's been working behind the scenes on the show too, you guys. And so if you're listening on, the podcast app, if you're on iTunes or Spotify or something like that, you can't see it, but we'll kind of walk you through if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. Hello, and welcome to our new studio. Now I want to tell you about our guest today. His name is Johnny Wimbrey. Some of you will definitely be familiar with him. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm incredibly honored to be here.
So here's the backstory, you guys.
Come on.
Here's the Second Shot Sit Down. Johnny Wimbrey is a renowned inspirational speaker who has shared the stage with people like, Les Brown, Zig Ziglar. He is a celebrity coach, a millionaire mastery guru. I don't know what that is, but I'm about to find out because I would like to master that myself. He's a #1 international best-selling author. He got his start selling by selling drugs at age 14, and today we are here to talk about his second shot.
I love that, the second shot. I love that. I wish it was a second shot. I'm kind of another shot. I messed up more than twice, but
don't we all?
Absolutely love the title of this show.
Oh, thank you. Well, when I thought about you and your story, it just seemed like an obvious one, and because you do so much educating in the public space too, with regard to helping other people kind of get unstuck. So, for people who are not familiar with him, we're going to do Second Shot, kind of like a little rapid fire, get to know you. First question here. And that first question is this. 3 people living that you could meet, hang out with, sit down with.
Okay.
Who would they be?
So, first of all, I want you to understand, my personality type is everything and who I am on stage, which is a little crazy. I come from, I like talking, I like teaching principles of success, but I'm also that crazy guy. So if you want to imagine me, kind of like in high school, I was like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air type. Class
Were
clown.
You the Fresh Prince of Fort Worth?
Absolutely crazy. Yeah, Fort Worth, Funkytown bound, maybe. So before I answer this question, I want you to know that most people are going to probably think that, it's going to be way up here in terms of finances. But, if I had an opportunity to play like dominoes or cards, I would like Will Smith, my boy Kevin Hart.
Yes.
I'd say, finally, if I had an opportunity to be, just in an intimate setting, with someone like Dwayne, The Rock.
Oh, The Rock, yes.
Like just that mindset. People don't understand, man, these work ethic that these individuals have, we get caught up into the sensationalism of it, but, man, these guys have incredible work ethics.
It's interesting. I always love to hear what people say to this because it kind of talks about what are your priorities.
I don't want to do with this, but Kim Kardashian, I've had an opportunity to meet her on a few occasions, but her work ethic, people don't understand. Her work ethic is just like out of there. So if it's 3 or 4, I'd throw a female in there.
What were you doing meeting Kim Kardashian? what was it? I need to start behind this now.
I can talk about it now. I couldn't talk about it back in the days, but I've also done some celebrity life coaching.
Okay.
I was in Hollywood for a couple years working on some projects, and while I was there, I did celebrity life coaching. So when Scott Disick was wilding out a little bit.
Yeah,
They
going
called me
rogue.
to ask me would I work with him, and then Courtney went into labor like 2 weeks early, and this was the first kid, and they just kind of took that idea off the table. And then again with Lamar.
Okay. Interesting.
And it wasn't attached to what he went through, but I definitely could have prevented that if he was open to it. I don't know if it was Chloe or him, but one of them weren't open to the possibilities. But they called me, but they just weren't open to going on air or having that out there.
It's a lot to go through that process. Yeah.
It is.
Okay, so let's talk about, kind of your backstory so that people can just relate to what you've been through. I brought up in the intro, selling drugs at age 14.
Yeah.
I know you were exposed to drugs initially, just such a young, tender age at age 8.
Yeah.
So talk about your life circumstances at that point in time.
Okay, a little backstory to lead up to that, because I don't want people to think that that was something that I opted into based on having many options. I just didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
My earliest memory of life living in a battered women's shelter. We left, my brothers and I'm the baby boy. We left Fort Worth, Texas, right around 3 or 4 years old for me, and then we went to San Jose, California. In San Jose, that was my first memory in life, living in a battered women's shelter. I remember going to a refrigerator, opening up the door, and reaching in to grab some milk, and I remember someone saying, "No!" And Jenny, that was the moment that I realized that life wasn't normal. That wasn't my milk. That milk belonged to another family.
Right.
And that was my
You didn't have a
introduction to
home.
life is not normal right now. So fast forward, we ended up coming back to Fort Worth. My mom puts us on an airplane, says, "We'll see you in 2 weeks." I wouldn't see her again for 3 years.
Oh my gosh, what happened?
It just circumstances and just life happens. And I go back, I meet my father for the first time. We came back from Fort Worth when I was in first grade for the first time. And I would meet my father. And it's the first time I ever had a man hold me and grab me and hug me so tight it hurt. So I wasn't familiar with that. But that was the first moment I've ever had a man's love, from a father figure type
At what
situation.
age was that?
That was first grade for me. So I would say about 6, 7 years old. And then my mom picked us up for a weekend during the summer, takes us back to San Jose, and my father doesn't know it. Now, I'm telling you all that to say this. When I went back, I failed the second grade in San Jose. Life just was not normal. So
it sounds like there was no stability at home, right?
Zero
just
stability.
Ability to help with their homework,
Yeah.
just the logistics that people take for granted.
My mom was in survival mode. And I didn't know what my father was going through at that particular time. But ultimately, after the second grade, where I failed, we got on an airplane. My father arranged money to get us back. And we went back. We expected my mom to be there 2 weeks later. And I remember going through this process in the second grade. And I literally saying, "Mommy's coming. Mommy's going to be here next week." And that went on for months. And then months turned into years. So that caused me to grow up very fast in terms of being able to adapt to change very quickly. And it built my character in a way that I don't think that any book can build somebody's character. So with all that being said, when I moved back to with my father pretty much raised me from that day forward. Even when my mother came back, I decided to stay with my father.
Okay.
My brother Larry, my oldest brother, went to go live with my mother, and today he's serving 40 years in prison. So, and I'm saying that because I'm not better than my brother. I just didn't get caught.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
No, I think that's fair. I think
Yeah.
that's interesting that you say that because it's very honest
Yeah.
about the circumstances that you both were in
Yeah.
and what you were doing for survival.
Yeah, and Sigmund Freud says you become a product of your environment, and I'm not challenging that. I'm just saying I believe that you can choose what your environment is. My brother Willie, who's the middle child, never really got in trouble. Willie, I believe you could be in the midst of fire and never stick your hand out to see if it's hot. And for some reason, Willie was that kid who didn't. I did. I saw drugs when I was 14 years old, started selling them. And it was crack cocaine. I'm 14, 15 years old. I'm introduced to this lifestyle. But the flip side of it is I'm terrified of my father. Give me an example of my father, like the personality character trait of my father. And shot out because he passed away about a month ago yesterday.
I'm sorry.
No, thank you so much. We did a huge celebration for him. But my father was the character in Pulp Fiction, Samuel L. Jackson. That's my father.
Okay.
Like if you really want to picture him,
Okay. Yeah,
that dude is my father. So I was really good at not getting caught.
Johnny.
So I was that kid at school, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, class clown, at home, doing things I should have never done.
So at that time, what did you think life had to offer you? What were you seeing as your potential life?
It's a really good question because I didn't know this until maybe 2 years ago. I thought about it. Even though I know what it feels like being homeless, I know what it feels like, sitting on a floor saying, God is great, God is good, let us thank you for our food, and we don't have furniture. All we got is,
Literally just
government food. Yeah, government food. And even through all that, I have never in my life entertained not being successful. I don't have one memory of thinking to myself, I'm not going to be successful. For some reason, I always knew that something was available to me, and whatever that was, I was going to get it, but I didn't know what I didn't know. So when I sold drugs, that was me going to get it.
That was going to get what you knew, the business that you saw. Some people's parents are teachers. Yeah. Some people, they've got an uncle who was a lawyer, somebody that worked 100%. In, sales. So that's what you see.
That's all I knew.
Okay, so here's, Matt, let's talk about this for a second.
Yeah.
I for sure have thought many times I wasn't going to be successful. Like, often. Have you, he's saying, I've never thought.
Never.
Well, I guess I might say I've always thought there's something coming, but I never really knew how to get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I think everybody has the desire to be successful, but I had the hope. There was something in me that said, something's going to come, but I don't know what it is, and I don't know how to make it happen.
Yeah.
So I think I've kind of spent a lot of my life just slowly working towards whatever I think is success or not, but certainly have never put my foot to put the pedal down and said, this is what I'm doing, and this is how I'm going to get there.
Yeah. So help us. Is this teachable? So it sounds like you were born with maybe this gift, or maybe it just kind of.
I believe I was born with a fight.
Okay.
I was no, I can't even say I was born with a fight. I believe that I think there's the two most important days of your life: the day that you're born, the day you realize why you were born. Mm-hmm. And I believe I realized why very early on in life. I was in 4th grade. I was in Miss Cook's classroom.
Shout out to Miss Cook.
Miss Cook, shout out, Easton Elementary. And I was, the second story floor, last classroom, all the way down to the left. This classroom had a wooden floor for some reason. Maybe it was a music class at some point. And I remember we had a test and I finished early. And instead of, allowing me to distract the other kids who weren't finished, she set me on the floor and put headphones on me. And it was a record player. And the record started playing, and these are the words I heard. I have a dream one day. Mm-hmm. And when I heard those words, Jenny, without exaggeration, something inside me happened. And I knew at that moment that I'm gonna move people. My voice is called to move people and help people. And I would forget about that moment. Like, I wasn't thinking about that when I was selling drugs. I wasn't thinking like that. I sold guns in high school. I wasn't thinking like that when I was doing the things that I was doing, but I could never deny the fact that there was something inside of me. Even to the point where there was a little bit of arrogance on my side. It was almost the arrogance of, I know I'm not going to get caught. I know I'm not going to die. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like I knew that God had something in my life planned for me. And instead of using that for, a blessing to help people, it was almost like arrogance.
Okay.
Like I can almost get away with anything. And I think that's where that came from. I've never entertained not being successful. And what's crazy is I have entertained going to prison.
I think it's kind of important to set up here. I mean, we're setting the stage with, you didn't have parents that got you through anything. Nobody was giving you loans. Nobody was setting you up. None
of that.
you were figuring this out on your own. I want to know what the breaking point was that made you turn in the other direction, because today you were on stages with Zig Ziglar.
Yeah.
And not selling drugs. What was the turning point for you?
When I was 18 years old, one of my homeboys were murdered. And sadly, this was not my first friend murdered. The difference was I knew the person who killed him. And when I got that phone call, I probably was a close of a rage that I can ever really imagine. And long story short, we went to the wake. We had a teacher, a Mom and Pop Crane. So Mama Crane was our 7th grade, 8th grade teacher. And believe it or not, this starts way back then. Now we're in high school, but they're still monitoring us and taking us to places to keep us out of trouble. And so we went to their house that night, and then we went to the wake.
Okay.
We planned revenge. Me and my homeboys, we planned revenge. So I had my gun. I'm pretty sure they had theirs too. And at the wake, my homeboy's mother stands up in front of the casket, and she says, "I forgive the young man who killed my son." Now, Jenny, this is the most mature moment I've ever had in my life up to this point, and probably one of the most mature moments I've ever had in my life.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what'd you do?
And I just had a moment where I said, I don't love him like that. If the mother had already found forgiveness, who am I? I felt like I would be disrespecting her to go get revenge. That night I asked a preacher to meet me outside the church, and I gave him my gun. And that was a major moment where I decided to turn my life around.
How hard was it after that, though, to stick to it? I think sometimes people have these pivotal moments, and then there's such an allure and an ease of path and doing what you know. How did you stay the course after that? Or did you?
Well, once I made a decision, I flipped that switch. I knew that I was going to fight for my life. And here's the number one principle that I teach people around the world. You got to participate in your own rescue. And I think the thing that made me different than most people is I actually participated in my rescue. Made a hell of a lot of bad decisions. I dropped the ball. I even went back to the streets. But it was very obvious to me that I wasn't going to get too many more chances.
Yeah.
So I walked away from that lifestyle. As a matter of fact, the next day at the funeral, there was a young lady sitting about maybe 10 people down left of me on my row, and I looked over and I'm like, I don't know this girl. Who are these girls? They're kind of cute. They're not from Fort Worth. They're not from where we're from.
You would have known them, yeah.
Yeah. How does Mookie know them? Well, Mom and Papa Crane went to church where they went to church, and they would take Mookie to church. So that young lady that was down there would end up coming to Mom and Pop's Cranes after we left the gravesite, and me being silly and crazy who I am, I got on the piano and that song that goes dun dun dun, and somebody else has to play the other part dun 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 dun, that part. I said, who else knows how to play the part? And she came over and started playing it. Well, she jacked it up, but long story short, that's my wife today.
I knew it. I knew you were going to say that.
That's Crystal. 20 years been married.
Okay, so it sounds like she played a pivotal role. You guys,
major.
I want to get to, because what we're talking about right now is a long way still from where you are today and the lives you've impacted. I mean, you guys, people pay a lot of money to hear him speak and to get coaching from him. So please, if there is somebody in your life that needs to hear this message, share this with them, send it to them, because right after the break, we're going to talk about how he did it, what he's doing now, and how we can kind of follow along if we'd like. So we'll be right back. Really quick break to tell you guys about, and we have been so pumped about this, our new sponsor of the Second Shot podcast. It is LLCcom. So Heath actually introduced me to this company a long time ago because he's been using them for everything. Every time he puts together a new business, he goes there, gets the LLC set up. They send back a little portfolio with everything done. It's legally savvy, legally sound, and put together for you. So if you're somebody who's sort of thinks that that's the daunting part of a business, which for me, it always has been, myllc.com is for real where you want to go. And they're also hooking you guys up with a deal. So write it down. Maybe you're not starting a business today, but maybe you're getting inspired by the interviews. It is this 99 My LLC, which gives you $99 off of a new corporation or LLC. I will also tell you, we definitely price checked before doing this. It is for sure the most affordable option. Heath and I have been using them for years and years. We just adore this company. So myllc.com, and again, the code for $99 off is 99myllc. This is the time when we get the second shot. It's like, what's your secret sauce? I think so many of us, and it doesn't, we may not have grown up in the exact same situation you did, but I know for sure people are watching and listening today who feel stuck and feel like they haven't seen what they want. They've never seen it played out in real life, and it's very hard for people to visualize. So I'm hoping, like, that was the point in bringing you on. Like, look, Johnny did it, we can do it. So
Absolutely.
how did you, you don't have a big formal education in sales or anything like that, right?
No.
But that's how you earned your living. That's how you made your money.
Right. I've been in sales even before it was legal sales. And well, here's one thing. One of the key ingredients that I have is I didn't lose my fight.
Okay.
Like, what I had in the streets, I brought it to the real business world. I believe that people don't succeed in life because they're just afraid to take risk. My entire life was a risk. So learning that key component wasn't really a huge learning curve for me. Every time I walked out of the house, my life was in jeopardy. My freedom was in jeopardy because of things that I opted into, things that I opted in doing. So the risk factor, I brought that to the business world.
So just being unafraid, I mean, that's a big takeaway for me.
Huge.
And almost like the lack of benefit for people who have always been in sort of this safe place is that it's very scary to step out.
Yeah.
When you started out in sales, what was your first legal sales job?
I got involved with health and life insurance. So when I was 20 years old, I became a temporary licensed insurance agent in the state of Texas. In the state of Texas, you can try it for 90 days to see if you like it. Long story short, I did. I took the test. The state of Texas sent me a mail saying, sorry, we regret to inform you, you cannot represent the state of Texas because you have a felony arrest as a teenager. So now my past is catching up with me, and it made me mad. But again, you got to participate in your own rescue.
Okay.
I had the Fort Worth courthouse. I asked the county clerk to ask Judge Wayne Salvant to write a letter on my behalf just saying, give me a second chance. Literally, those were the words I said.
Yeah.
Can you ask them to give me a second chance? And they wrote the letter. 2 weeks later, no explanation, my license comes in the mail.
Wow. Hold on for a second, Matt. I like this one. Participate in your own rescue.
Yeah, that's great.
So often we are kind of like, well, I did the thing, and now my life's over. We do.
I did the thing.
I'm sure a lot of people could have gotten that news saying, well, you got a felony arrest, that's it. And I think a lot of people would look at that and like, well, there's nothing I can do about that. Yes, I have a felony
it's the state of Texas. How do you fight the state of Texas?
Right.
Right. Like, so
with the word
that could have been
please.
so
Right.
easy.
And I'm telling you, man, it was the simple fact that I just took a step.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything genius. It was me participating, not knowing the end result, but at least I was. And those were things that I would do in the streets. When I was in the streets, a no meant nothing to me. I still would take another step after a no.
So you kept going on with insurance and then got into the sales world after
Insurance turned into getting involved with the network marketing world, the multi-level marketing world, direct sales, whatever you want to call it, when I was 25 years old. And that changed my life forever because it opened me up to personal development. This is what I found out who Zig Ziglar was.
Okay.
Les Brown, Jim Rohn, Brian Tracy, Dr. John Gray. Not knowing I would end up doing projects with every single one of those individuals.
If someone would have told you when you first heard from some of those guys that you would work with them
To even
and
see
be
them
among
in person.
their company.
Like, it would have been hard for me to believe that one day I will see them in person. Like, that never even crossed my mind.
So how did you make it happen? I mean, what was like your daily routine at that point in time?
Man, listen, it was really just staying in position. Staying in position in what I said I wanted to do, and every day do something towards that. I love the fact that the name of the show is Second Shot or Another Shot. Or,
Second Shot, exactly.
Because I'm really big on taking a shot. Wayne Gretzky says this. He says, 100% of every shot never taken never goes in. So if you're not shooting, nothing goes in. So I just said, I'm just going to shoot. But I'm going to shoot in the direction of where I want to be in life.
What do you say to the people who say, I shot and I missed. I'm done. I'm backing out.
100% of every shot never taken never goes in.
Yeah.
Every big shot was a small shot that just kept shooting. Every big shot.
Yeah.
They'll say, Johnny, you're a big shot. You're a millionaire. You got your own show. You're a big shot, Jenny. Well, you just kept shooting. The only difference between you and somebody else is I just kept shooting. Dory said it on Finding Nemo. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
It's so true. It's so true. The people, Matt and I just talked about it. People in our degree, we said,
Right.
Nobody's even working in this field besides us. We don't know if we're the best. We're just the people who are still here.
Yeah. Man, if I could teach people, and this is what I do, if I could talk to the 9-month-old you, you're invincible. The 9-month-old you never got permission to learn how to walk. You just freaking started the process. There's something inside you. There's something that we were designed to do without permission. But now we get older. You know, we're born to win, programmed to fail, and all this programming makes us forget that when we were 9 months old, we fell down 100 times and still got back up, and we didn't care who was watching. The only reason you would stop shooting is because you care who's watching.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so let that sink in. Who cares who's watching?
Drink to that.
Yeah, I mean, think about that. Just the daily processes, what you're posting on Instagram, what you, for the sales world, what you might be scared to put out there for fear that someone might think something about you selling something.
If they're going to talk about you when you're broke, when you're hurt, when you drop the ball, they might as well talk about you while you're climbing to your path, to your success. Yeah. I would much rather people talk about me being a millionaire than talk bad about me being broke.
Was it hard for you to achieve that financial success given you hadn't seen it in front of you? Or was that even a goal?
No, it was. It absolutely was. But I took the attention off of me, and I thought about generational. It was all about generational wealth. When I started focusing on generational wealth, everything changed for me. This is before I had kids. Yeah. I began to think to myself, what can I do to interrupt the pattern of poverty that came before me? I'm just a few generations out of slavery. Yeah. So it's not like, and I'm biracial, I'm black and white, so you throw all the odds against me. All the odds that you can imagine were against me. I just choose not to participate in what society says I'm supposed to be.
Choose not to participate in what society expects you to be.
Jay-Z says, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Well, based on the numbers and the studies that have been done against me, I'm supposed to be in prison like my brother. I'm supposed to be an abusive alcoholic like my father was. I'm supposed to be all these things in life that society says I'm supposed to be. And they're right. I am supposed to be that. I'm just not going to participate in somebody else's opinion and make it my reality.
Does anybody ever say anything to you to this day? Like, for example, coming up, okay, yeah, so you were coming from poverty, but working to this thing. Is there anything somebody could say to you now that would hurt or make you take a step back?
No.
Or you're just feeling like so invincible?
No, it would, it's not what someone else says, it's what I allow to enter me when someone else says it. So, life happens. It's never, Jenny, it is never what happens to you. It's what you allow to happen in you when it happens to you. So if you say something to me that pulls me down, you didn't pull me down.
It's you.
I pulled me down.
Okay, good. So that's so good. So we're connecting here.
Absolutely.
Everybody's getting that message.
Yeah.
I want to hear about your daily routine, regimen, any secrets that you have for today. Say someone's feeling like, okay, I'm in the flow, I'm doing well, I feel like I'm in the place I want to be, I want to keep it going.
Right.
What's your day like? What are are there systems that you have in place that you think the rest of us should be doing?
That would be an awesome question to somebody who had a rehearsed answer. I don't have a rehearsed answer for that. It's I wake up and I do whatever I want to do, whenever I want to do it, as much as I want to do it until I'm done doing it, and I don't have to ask permission to start or finish. So I am literally in control of every bit of my schedule. The only thing that controls me is really my heart. It's hard for me to not get involved when somebody calls, but I don't know when they're going to call. So there's not a cookie cutter approach to my daily lifestyle because, I may get somebody who's suicidal one day and I may get somebody who, is, about to lose a company that's worth $100 million the next day. Those two scenarios are incredibly different. However, the mindset and the principles of overcoming both of those are exactly the same.
Interesting. I like that you didn't have a rehearsed answer because some people say, Jenny, you must wake up every day at 5:30 a.m. and drink a green tea and then meditate for 7 minutes.
That's so
and stuff
true.
Like that. That's what most people say is their answer.
And
I ask that a lot because I'm curious about people's systems and stuff. So I like to hear about it. But he does whatever he wants because I guess you built that for yourself.
Yeah, and I've always been kind of like that free spirit type person that doesn't dance to anybody else's music. It doesn't mean that I won't participate in your music, but I'm kind of going to dance to mine.
So you guys, we've got a series of franchise questions that we're going to do for all the second
Shotgun, boom, boom.
Yes. So here's one of them. Given the chance to choose, would you prefer that life be fair or unfair? and why?
I don't think life will ever be fair. So I would always say unfair, because those who would look for something to be fair, it's just an unrealistic lifestyle. You know, who I am today is based on all the unfair things that have been thrown at me. And life throws you a curveball. Yeah. You can't predict what's going to happen. Again, it's not what happens to you, it's what you allow to happen in you when it happens to you. So the unfair things that happen in life builds character. And character is who you are from the inside out.
Yeah. I love that answer. I'm going to love this question. Don't you think, Matt? We've talked about this on regular Second Shot.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also interesting. Maybe in your case, again, going back to, you had a felony arrest. They weren't gonna let you work. If life was fair, that might be the end of it, because like you have to pay for what had happened or what you had done, right?
And I could allow it to piss me off or piss me on. So most people you got to realize, it's so easy to get pissed off in society. It pissed me on. It turned something on inside me.
Yeah, it gets him going. Yeah. Let life be unfair for Johnny. Okay, last Second Shot question here. And again, this is the idea with this being a gift to our audience. We want them to, look, we don't all have access to Johnny all the time, but this is kind of like our little private 30-minute one-on-one coaching session with him. So, hypothetical, he already had a best-selling book, so I can't offer him his first book deal. Mm-hmm. But we're going to offer you another book deal.
All right, let's do it.
And I promise to get it into the hands of everybody who needs a second shot at life. The catch is, the book is one sentence long. What's the sentence? What's the one line that you give to everybody who needs like a little bit of hope for a second shot?
Where you come from doesn't have to dictate where you're going.
So good. So good. Let it sink in. Post it, tweet about it, quote it, Instagram it.
Your past doesn't have to determine your future. You don't have to consult your past to determine your future. And I think that's what most people do. You know, people look at life like a hand of cards. Like the hand you get the day you're born, that's the hand you have to play with for the rest of your life. And that's a lie from the pits of hell. You could throw that hand in right now and hit the reset button and restart. But you got to have a coach. You got to have somebody. Yeah. You know, tennis players have coach. Pianists have coach. You know, people have coaches in life other than in life.
Right, to keep them going.
People have coaches in everything that they do other than in life. I coach people in life.
Yeah, this is good, Johnny. I love it. And I love that you're so on fire and like here for us to access it and feel it and get inspired by it. If people are interested in that, in your coaching and connecting with you, following you, give them all you got.
Any social media platform is @Wimbrey, my last name @Wimbrey. But for coaching and things like that, go to CoachJohnny.com. CoachJohnny.com. Johnny Carson, Johnny Depp, Johnny Blaze, that Johnny. CoachJohnny.com.
I like the associations.
You got to do things to make people remember.
Yes, I'm with you. Johnny Wimbrey, thank you.
Thank you.
You've been awesome.
Thank you.
This is good. Matt, you feel ready to rock?
Am I coming back?
It's inspiring.
Yeah.
Am I coming back?
Yes.
All right.
Let's do it.
Hey, let's do a Johnny on the spot on the regular segment. Let's get it.
I like it.
How's that for closing on air?
Yeah, right. Okay, promise. Deal done. Okay, you guys, here's the deal. Second Shot sit-downs. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you know somebody and you think, gosh, this could help them get out of a rut, get unstuck, anything like that, please do share it with them. We are on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Stitcher. Where else we at? Matt, we're on everything.
Everything. Yeah, I don't know.
Facebook,
I didn't
YouTube.
hear everything you just said, but yes, we're
on every platform. The idea being that this is a service for you, a gift for you, and just a resource for you. Don't forget, you can join the Second Shot super secret, not so secret Facebook group, and we will connect and hang out in there. And then the next episode that comes up will be our regular one, and we'll invite my husband back for that. Have a good one. Bye, you guys.